So I've just been looking over some of the newspapers that my mother collected for me when I was in China. Some of you may know that I collect newspapers. I've got thousands. Anyway, I've been looking over some of the reports from 2018, and I've just been looking at this copy of the London Times because it has an obituary on George H.W. Bush. But one report's caught my attention, and it made me think this would be a good topic to discuss, and it is about bullying and hazing in the armed forces. Um, I'm not going to read out the whole report, or maybe I will see how it goes. It's not very long, but it's about an incident that occurred in the Royal Navy last year. This is dated December 2018. Woman submariner hurt in brawl with male colleagues. So I'll read out a bit of this, then discuss the wider issues. A female officer on a British nuclear submarine has suffered serious facial injuries after a fight with three male colleagues at Faslane Naval Base. The lieutenant from HMS Artful was said to have required hospital treatment for a suspected broken jaw after being struck by one of the men on Scotland's west coast. Two junior seamen who came to her aid were also struck in the incident, and the report doesn't say how serious their injuries were. The Royal Navy confirmed that military police were investigating the brawl. A source told the Mail on Sunday that the incident happened just over a week ago when three officers from HMS Ambush, a second Astute-class submarine, began verbally abusing the woman. At first, other crew on the dockside just ignored them, but it went on too long and she was getting upset, the source said. The fight broke out when two juniors from HMS Artful stepped in to protect her. One was headbutted in the face and one was elbowed really hard. I don't know why they were picking on her. It wasn't nice to see. Two of the men involved are thought to be cadet officers and the third is said to be fully qualified. A Royal Navy spokesman said, "We can confirm that the Royal Naval Police are investigating an alleged incident involving members of a Scottish-based unit. As this is an ongoing investigation, it would be inappropriate to comment further." The female officer is said to be an engineer on board HMS Artful with special responsibility for the sophisticated sonar tactical communication systems. In recent weeks, HMS Ambush has been patrolling the North Sea in an effort to prevent incursions into British waters from Russian submarines. She undertook these operations with the Type 23 frigate HMS St Albans. HMS Ambush, which was launched in 2011, hit headlines when she crashed into a tanker, um, MV Andreas, off the coast of Gibraltar in 2016, causing £2.1 million worth of damage. Commander Justin Codd later pleaded guilty at a court martial to negligently hazarding the sub during a training exercise. Um, Okay, what I want to just focus on there is the incident in question. Now, I wasn't there. I don't know exactly what happened. And like the report says, it's an ongoing investigation. Respect to the two young cadets who stepped in, if they did indeed saw this woman being abused and they went to aid her, full credit to them. Um, I was looking also at a video from a channel called, let me just get this right. If you just bear with me a second, because I want to get the exact name correct. Um, oh, that's a pity I can't do the split screen. It's an American channel addressing this issue, and it's interviewing soldiers, Marines, both men and women, who have suffered so-called hazing in the military, um, and have been sexually assaulted, male and female. Let me just say from the outset, I think the practice of hazing, or bullying for that matter, but specifically hazing, is disgusting. And I think that the armed forces need to really purge this. This is a problem that can be seen all over the world. I know Russia has a serious problem in their armed forces. The United States clearly has a problem. We have a problem. I heard about a young Marine in Taiwan who recently took his own life, and that caused a big backlash in Taiwan. So this is a global problem. But just perhaps being specific to the UK, because military setups are different around the world. But in industrialized states where there is kind of an organized army as opposed to, ragtag guerrilla groups where there are organized, long-standing military institutions. I think there is absolutely no excuse for this happening. I mean, there's no excuse for it happening anyway, but particularly in militaries that pride themselves on being highly professional, and we do. And I think that is with good cause. I think the British Army and the British military is one of the most, if not the most professional in the world, in terms of per rata, in relation to power of nations. Um, but we cannot hide the fact that there is a problem in the armed forces. And, I think we get so wrapped up in rightly understanding the sacrifice that our armed forces make. I mean, that's right. We should recognize that. But I think it's a bit naive to think that everyone who joins the armed forces is going to be a decent, upstanding person. Clearly, there are bullies who join the armed forces and they see it as a way of getting away with their disgusting behavior. I think the armed forces need to purge this. And okay, I'm not a soldier. I've never had military experience. So some might say, what gives this sort of guy a right to comment? Well, the way I see it is one doesn't need to be a soldier to see what is wrong is wrong. I mean, surely instead of we have a problem at the moment with recruitment. The numbers in the armed forces are significantly less than they were in the past. And whilst numbers are low and don't build for military efficiency, they are a factor. And the army is having a serious problem recruiting, so is the navy. So this sort of behavior is not going to entice people to the armed forces because young recruits are going to think, well, not only young recruits, any new recruits. I mean, I've seriously considered the prospect of joining the Royal Navy. I need work. I want to serve my country, and I'd seriously considered that. But frankly, I don't like the idea of getting into that and being kind of targeted for hazing because I'm a new guy. And there's a possibility of that happening. I think the armed forces need to purge this sort of behaviour. And I know what irritates me is apologists for this say, oh well, if they can't handle the heat, they're in the wrong job, and they make this sort of excuse that because these are professions that demand physical and mental toughness, that somehow justifies hazing. I don't see the connection with that. I mean, that's just nonsense. I think bullying is bullying, but more to the point, I don't see how hazing helps anyone. I mean, I don't see how that builds a stronger soldier or a stronger sailor. All it does is when it's that sort of focused bullying on an individual, particularly if we're talking about rape and sexual assault. I mean, it wouldn't be tolerated in civilian life, so why should it be tolerated in military life? And I get it, like these are not normal jobs. These are jobs in which men and women put their lives on the line for their country. They are exceptional jobs, but that doesn't mean that there should be a normalization of this sort of behavior. I feel disgusted that young men and women who, in many cases, have done tours of duty, they have fought and seriously risked their lives for their country, would be subjected to this sort of abuse. And I think senior officers need to be getting a grip on this and saying this is not going to be tolerated on my watch. And if you engage in it, you're going to face a court martial. I mean, that really should be something that is not tolerated in the military. Because if people are being driven over the edge to the point of suicide or severe depression, I don't see how that helps the military in any sense. So it makes me very angry when people try to justify this. Um, I mean, those who serve in our armed forces deserve the utmost respect. They really do. But those who are engaging in this sort of practice, they don't deserve respect for that. Maybe they've become desensitized. I don't know why it is they do that. Maybe it's the fact that they've got power over someone because they're in a more senior position. Maybe they've become desensitized because they've done several tours of duty. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, it shouldn't be justified. And I really would like to see the armed forces taking this problem very seriously. So if that means a change in culture where, people are saying, oh, they just need to toughen up or something like that, really, this is not about, I would make the argument that anybody would crack under those circumstances, no matter how physically tough you are. And I just quickly reference that reality TV show SAS Who Dares Win, where the woman was apparently left with a bloody nose by her male counterpart. Well, that opens up questions about the military. I personally don't think women should be on the front lines. I'm uneasy about it. Or let me rephrase that. I am uneasy about it. I'm not 100% decided either way on that issue, but I think this is something that can be seen in every body of the armed forces. The SAS, for example, is elite. Now, they're obviously going to be going through physical demands that are exceptional, that most average people can't imagine. And I accept that. I accept that if we want these people to protect our country, if we expect them to be the best of the best, it does take people who are exceptionally physically and mentally tough. But I don't see how specific bullying, targeting an individual, is the way to do that. I'd be less bothered about it if it was kind of a collective thing. But the point is, it's not. It's always targeted at an individual with the idea of trying to wear that person down, making them go over the edge. That sort of behavior is disgusting and it needs to be purged from the armed forces because I don't see how that helps build a strong military. I don't think you need to be a military expert to see that. And most soldiers would agree with me because those people who have went through this, who've been victims of this, they're not bad soldiers. They're not weak people. They're just people who want to serve their country, and they should not have had to put up with that crap. So it makes me very angry, and it makes me angry that people try to justify it. This is not about being a pushover. It's about the fact that you push anyone far enough, of course they're going to crack. And these when soldiers are or sailors are expecting to take on Islamist thugs or Somali pirates, they don't want to be. You don't want a situation where people are being driven over the edge by colleagues in arms, by people who are wearing the same uniform as them. I mean, we talk about friendly fire. Surely that's kind of friendly fire in a sense. And we see films like Full Metal Jacket, which shows the brutality that sometimes goes on in drill halls. And obviously, Full Metal Jacket's exaggerated, the famous lines by Gunnery Sergeant Hartman. But I think there is a real problem here, and I'll leave it there. But I really think that the military needs to clean this up. I'm not saying it's the reason for having a problem with the recruitment drive, but if people think, oh, I joined the army and I'm going to be hazed on day one, they're not going to join the army. And that doesn't mean they're a snowflake, it doesn't mean they're a weak person. They might well be physically tough, they might well be very patriotic, they might well have the logistical skills that are required to be a good soldier or sailor, but they'll be put off from joining because, obviously they don't want to go through that. So I think the armed forces, if they want to solve this recruiting problem, they need to demonstrate that they're taking this problem seriously. And those who are engaged in it need to face serious court martials. And there needs to be a change of culture. That's my opinion. If you are in the armed forces, please let me know your thoughts and let me know. I mean, I want you to know that I've got the utmost respect for what you do. You're doing something that most people will not do, and you do deserve our gratitude as a nation. But I would hope that you agree this is not good. If you've been a victim of it, please feel free to leave your thoughts and your experience. I'd like to hear from people who've been through this. Thanks for watching.